On the couch
on the couch
with Claire and Nancy
Yes.
and the panda, my emotional support
Oh,
panda.
he's cute. I like
He is.
him.
Yeah,
Is
thank
he
you.
new?
Yeah, he's soft.
He's very soft.
Yes, he is.
All right. Do you want to introduce yourself
I
first?
do. Yeah, I'm Nancy, and I'm a therapist here at Northern Lights Counseling.
I'm Claire. I'm also a therapist here at Northern Light Counseling.
Claire and I today, we just want to talk about what therapy is.
Mhm.
And we kind of have a unique perspective in that I work with adults,
Mhm.
and Claire.
I work with primarily children, but I also really like to work with teens and young adults. I'm also an art therapist and I like to do play therapy. So it's a little bit of a different take than just regular talk counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right. So one of the things we want to talk about is this is the couch you'd sit on if you came to my office, because that's where we're at,
yeah.
right? Um, and typically, so a client, there's a couple seats in the room. The client sits where they want to sit, and I usually take the opposite seat,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then for adults, it's a little bit different than it is for kids. What do you guys do when when kids come into session?
Usually, especially if it's the first session, I'm like, you can sit wherever you want. Um, I usually tell kids that you can do pretty much whatever you want in this room. So we can sit on the floor, we can sit at the table, we can sit on the couch. I don't really care where we sit because it's kind of like that space where it's much, I don't want to say more open, but kind of, it's a little more open ended, I think, for kids
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot to explore there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And kids have a little bit more difficult time. Probably they probably feel really more anxious even than
Mm-hmm.
adults feel.
For sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because at least adults know they can get up and walk out if they don't
That's
want to be
true.
here,
That's
right?
true. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think kids too, it's like you're coming into this room with an adult that you don't know in this new space. It's kind of like if you're a kid and you're going into a new classroom for the first time, right? And you're terrified, like, what is going on? I don't know this person. And now I have to talk to them. Like, that's crazy.
Do do parents come in with the first session with the kids?
Usually, yeah, usually. If they're over the age of 14, I usually ask the client
Mm-hmm.
if they want their parent to be there. But I usually like the parents to be there for the first session because it kind of provides a little more insight into what's going on. Because sometimes the counseling process for kids also involves the parent as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes there's issues at home, that maybe I'm not necessarily seeing. So it's nice to have that perspective from the parent.
Right.
Yeah.
How long do you usually see kids for?
I will see kids for the whole 52 minutes.
Wow.
It depends on the kid though. Like there's some kids you can only hold their attention span for 45 minutes or
Right.
less.
Right.
So I've definitely like ended sessions early because of, either they're really not that invested at that time or, something's going on where their attention's not holding. I have some clients who have ADHD and they really can't, hold attention for 52 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because the process is so engaging with the art or with playing, it's able to hold their attention for longer
Right.
instead of me just sitting there talking at them.
Right.
So,
So, yeah, I think it's interesting to talk about kids
yeah.
therapy because I think there's a lot of ideas. I think everybody kind of knows what adult therapy would be like,
hmm
right? We talk,
hmm
you talk to me, I talk to you, blah, blah, blah. But like with kids therapy, I mean, how do you fix their problems? Like, how do you even decide what you guys are going to work on?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think usually I think the initial comes from the parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes kids are like, yeah, I want to talk to somebody about whatever is going on, but usually the initial is the parent. And I love hearing I want you to fix my kid. Okay, well, nobody can do that. I don't know what to tell you.
At least not by next week. I'm not
No,
fixing your kid.
maybe not even by like next year. Like I
Right.
don't know.
Oh,
but
okay.
well, I mean, truth, be
Right.
told, it takes everybody a different amount of time. But I like to think that kids don't need to be fixed because they're not broken,
Oh, I love that. I
right?
love that. They
Yeah.
don't. And I think the same thing about adults. You don't need to
Yeah.
be fixed because you're not broken. It's how you were made.
Right.
It's your experiences. And I
Mhm.
think, frankly, I think that's a beautiful thing. I don't think we have to fix you.
No.
I think we have to just kind of help you accept you as you are, I think is a big part of this.
Definitely. And I think too the other thing is that like parents have an expectation. Maybe it's because like as adults like we have a different version of what therapy is,
Right.
right? Like we're coming in and we're talking about problems or things that we want to work on or whatever. And For kids, it's not necessarily that. So we as adults kind of have this perspective that it's going to be the same thing.
Right. So what are you doing if you're not talking? I don't understand.
So
I don't understand that. What are we doing if we're not talking?
so basically, like, we're communicating in other ways.
Oh.
We're communicating with art, through play, because kids, their first language is play. So that's their first thing that they ever learn how to communicate with and
Mhm.
process problems is through playing. So a lot of times, we might see repetitive themes coming up in play. Like, maybe every time we're in the session, the child is rescuing an animal, or
Oh.
there's a superhero who is rescuing someone,
Mhm.
or it's like nurturing, right? Like it's a
Mhm.
family,
Mhm.
or maybe there's bullying happening. And it's really, honestly, it's not my job to determine what that might mean, because it could mean a variety of things. And it might take us a while to get to the point where we're like, okay, yeah, I think this is where we're at right now.
Right. Right.
Um, but again, I think, like, the other piece of it too is oftentimes I think parents treat children as property.
Oh,
do you do you understand what I'm saying when I say that?
I totally understand what you're
Okay.
saying. Well, I mean, I think, right, because I think kids, especially people from my generation,
Mhm.
right, kids were brought up to be seen and not heard, and we didn't have a lot of autonomy to our emotions.
Right.
I mean, obviously there were some people that were growing up where their feelings were validated, but I know my generation, like, that wasn't. Did we even
Mhm.
have emotions? I mean,
Mhm.
nope, they were ignored
Right.
largely,
Yeah.
unfortunately. This is why I see adults, um, to validate. And so I think, yeah, sometimes parents don't get that what they're doing is causing emotions and feelings within their kids.
Mhm. And I always tell parents, like, it's not, you're not bad. Like, you're not
No.
a bad parent. It's just that there's things that maybe we just need to work on, and that's fine. Everybody has things they need to work on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I always start with that premise with even with the adults I work with, like when we're talking about childhood,
mhm.
I start with the assumption that your parents were good,
Mhm.
that everything they did out of love and
Yeah.
out of their best interest for you. But we're humans. I heard this at a training recently, and I love
Mm.
that. We're humans raised by humans. And
Mm.
because we're not perfect, it's really complicated. And I
Mhm.
loved that when I heard that in the training. I was like, yeah, that's all this is.
Mhm.
You're trying to live your life and doing the best you can at it, only you have this developing person with you who's experiencing things and have thoughts and feelings about it, right?
Mhm.
And as kids, and I do this a lot with my adult clients, is we talk about as kids, when stuff's going on in your life and you don't really know why it's happening, you internalize that and make
Oh
that
yeah.
about you,
Mhm.
and it's generally not for the positive, right?
Mhm.
So mom and dad are fighting. Now we all know as adults they could be fighting for any reason, but kids think they're fighting because I'm bad.
Right.
It's my
Yeah.
fault. I shouldn't have made dad mad.
Right. Yeah. And I think another thing too, I read a book in grad school that one of my professors had actually written. Why we were reading books written by the professor, I don't know, but anyway.
Sounds like a conflict, but okay.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, but it was a good book. But in the trauma course, like, we talk a lot about, like, um kids need their caregivers,
Hmm.
right? So if I, as a child, was to blame my caregiver for any kind of abuse, neglect, emotional,
Right.
damage, I'm essentially losing the care I need, and
Yeah.
children know how to survive.
Yeah, that's
That is their
scary.
thing, right?
That's really scary.
Yeah, so that's how we oftentimes we end up, like, internalizing these things,
Right.
because children turn inwards, usually, instead of
Yeah.
blaming outwards
Right.
when something
Yeah,
happens.
and the same thing with my adult clients. Like I
Mhm.
have to validate their parents before we can get too far into stuff sometimes if we're talking about childhood wounds.
Right.
Because again, to say that, my mother mistreated me is to imply that maybe your mother didn't love you. And
Mm.
that feels so unsafe, right? Because if
Yeah.
our mother doesn't love us, who know does anybody?
That's so
And
true.
that's one, maybe not accurate, right? I
Mhm.
want to just point that
Right.
out. Probably not accurate. And two, feels really bad on a person. So like you don't, as a therapist, I never want to lead somebody to that place. I always
No.
like want to build up, parents do the best they can and they're operating out of a place of love,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, definitely. I think too the other thing with kids is that, like, I mean, it's probably the same thing when working with adults, but especially with kids, it's a lot of building that emotional safety
Mm-hmm.
and having a space where you can express yourself and you're not going to get in trouble.
Right.
No one's judging you. I'm an unbiased perspective, just like
Right.
listening in. A lot of it is building the relationship
Yeah,
with the child.
exactly.
And that is honestly one of the most beneficial parts of a child being in therapy.
Yeah. And we talked about it when we first talked about talking about therapy together,
Hmm.
Claire and I. um, we talked about talking about that, forming that, they call it in therapy a therapeutic alliance, but
Right.
that relationship, right?
Hmm.
That rapport building, so that you feel like you can come in here and tell me something and I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm open, I'm engaged, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, I'm
Right.
remembering the things you told me, I'm validating you, all those good things, right? And so much of the first couple sessions we do with clients is just building that rapport so you feel safe to come in here and talk,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah, because I mean, even as an adult, right? You're not, I wouldn't expect you to walk in here and tell me your deepest, darkest secrets. Like, that doesn't make
No,
any sense. I wouldn't want to do that.
no.
Right?
No,
Like,
no. And a lot of times I know for adults, like I will say, because we have to, when we do the intake, right?
mhm,
We have to ask some
all
questions.
of the hard questions.
But I usually tell clients, just say yes or no. You don't have to give me
Right.
details.
Yeah,
Just
I
tell me
agree.
yes or no. You can give me details when you feel like you want to give me details. I
Mhm.
don't need to know that to help you with your symptoms.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't need to know all the details.
Mm-mm.
I can help with your symptoms and help you with your anxiety or depression without knowing all the
Right.
symptoms.
I think something that's interesting about working with kids is that there's more than one location, I guess, right? So there's
Yeah.
the school,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
home,
yeah.
community piece. So like oftentimes I want to know from the parents, like, what's going on at school?
Right,
Do they have an IEP? Like,
right,
what's friendship like at school? Like, what do you think?
right.
Kind of thing. Cause, I mean, kids don't always know that kind of stuff or aren't sure how to answer those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So that's also a good perspective to have because that gives me more information too about what might be going on.
Right.
Hmm.
It is helpful, right? Those are those things you need to know from people. Like I might not need to know all your history, right? To help you with your symptoms, but I need to know like the full picture. I need
Hmm.
to know who you
Yeah.
live with. I need to know where you work.
Yeah.
I need to know, is your relationship good with your partner? Do you have supportive friends? What kind of
Hmm.
things do you like to do?
Right.
Because again, I don't, as a therapist, you only know what a person shows you.
Right.
So I always like go to that. I'm like a periscope. I go up and I only see what's right in front of me.
Right.
And if you don't paint me the whole picture, then I don't know the whole picture.
True.
So you don't need to tell me everything on the first session, but if we're going to do some meaningful work, at some point I'm going to need to know the larger picture so that, because a lot of what I do is help guide you through that. But if I don't know all the pitfalls in your world, I can't really help you,
Right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
True.
Interesting.
And I think that kind of brings us to our first. I don't know if you want to talk about this first,
Oh,
but
yeah, we can talk about this.
because I think this is actually pretty interesting. So Nancy actually found this.
Yeah, for people that go to therapy
Yes.
and wonder why therapy doesn't work for them.
Right.
We thought it would be interesting to talk about why therapy
Mhm.
doesn't work for
Mhm.
you. Um, so go ahead. You can go first, Claire.
All right. And I think too, like before we read this, like I think there's a disclaimer, right? Is that, maybe some people have had a really traumatic experience in therapy
Mm-hmm.
because let's be honest, there's some not great therapists out there and such for
Mm-hmm.
people who call themselves therapists.
Yeah. And the truth is, if that relationship, if you don't ever really connect with the therapist,
Mhm.
then try another therapist,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because I may meet Claire and we may be best friends, or I may meet Claire and we're not best friends. And
Right.
that's okay. It doesn't mean she's bad or I'm bad.
No.
It just means maybe we're not a good fit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one reason why therapy won't work. If you're not a good fit with your therapist, right?
Yeah.
Or your therapist feels, there's something just doesn't feel like you can form that connection, then
Mhm.
move on.
Yeah.
But if you have a connection with the therapist or you feel you do and it's still not working, sometimes there's some things that we just want people to kind of, because therapists, we can try a lot of different approaches, but clients also need to try some different approaches sometimes.
Right. And I think that's one of the bigger things I had to learn is that, you can't work harder than your clients.
Right.
You
Right.
can't just can't. So because at the end of the day, I'm here for you. I'm not here for me,
Yeah. Right.
so, um, The first one is, am I waiting for my therapist to lead so I don't have to?
Right. Which is something that happens, right? They want
Mm-hmm.
me to bring up the difficult stuff
Right.
so they don't have to bring it up. And I as the therapist, I'm a trauma informed therapist. That means I'm not going to bring up your trauma unless you're ready to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to take that first step unless you want to. So it's kind of like you got to tell me that it's okay to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can go there with you. I don't want to force anybody to talk about something they don't want to talk about it.
No.
Um, the one I like on this list a lot is, am I choosing comfort over truth? Right?
Mm.
So, am I choosing the story that makes me feel good inside, or am I going to be honest and say what really happened? And again, as a therapist, I hope I've created that kind of relationship with you where you don't feel judged,
Right.
where I'm a person too,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell me anything, and
Right.
I'm going to be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, in my case, there's not much I haven't heard. So you pretty much can tell it to
That's
me.
fair.
And I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
get it.
I hear you.
So, you know, as a therapist, I'd want to know that. Like, I do have clients who'll say to me, I don't know if I can tell you this. And we'll walk through that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay too. You don't have to tell me, but then tell me you don't feel comfortable telling me
Right.
so I can reassure you, or we could work through it.
Yeah. And Nancy said something earlier about being curious. Like, I'm going to try being more curious.
I am.
Right. And so I think, like what you just said about, well, why is this uncomfortable? Right. Kind of
Yeah.
being curious about, you know, what's that feeling like?
Right.
What are you feeling in this moment? And I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of people who go to therapy, and I ask my own clients this. My therapist asked me that. Where do you feel that in your body? And but it's true, right? Like, we're trying to figure it out together.
And those of us who have no idea what we feel in our bodies are like, I don't know.
And it's
I don't know.
probably good that we're in therapy.
Yeah, good. That's right.
So,
Oh, yeah.
um, yeah, the one that where was it that I liked? I liked that one. Am I choosing comfort? But if I stopped avoiding this, what would I have to feel?
Ooh,
That's
that's
a
a big
heavy
one.
one.
That's an oof one.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Because change is tough. And
Definitely.
and that's the whole point of why, not everybody goes to therapy,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? Because change is tough. And sometimes you see yourself here. That's what a therapist is, at least as an adult, right? And even for
Mhm.
a child, right?
Yeah.
I mirror what you are back to you.
Yes.
And being a mirror, sometimes I don't like what I see in the mirror, and then I have to do that. Maybe
Right.
I have to do my makeup, maybe I have to go get a new style, maybe I have to just accept myself as I look
And I
in the
don't want to
mirror,
do that.
and I don't want to do that.
And it's uncomfortable and it
Yeah.
sucks.
So I mean, that's really hard.
Right.
And I get it. I'm
Mhm.
empathetic to that.
Yeah. And I think in a way,
I am
right.
empathetic to that. And it's a process,
It is,
right?
definitely.
We've talked about this before, Claire and I have, about like how long you work with a client and they're like, they just still not comfortable with changing. And
Mhm.
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll just roll with that.
Right. We can roll with it. It's not, because this is your time, right? I'm
Right.
I'm here with you on the same adventure. I'm down in the ditch with you,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Yeah.
not. I think another thing too is a lot of times people think that the therapist has some kind of like power in
Yeah.
the room, which I guess, it
Well, we
kind of
do
is.
because we have the
But
knowledge, I think,
right.
right?
But at the same time, I'm not here to be somebody who's towering over you.
Right.
I'm here to walk with
Especially when
you.
you work with kids.
That's exactly.
And this goes back to that first one, right? Waiting
Mhm.
for the therapist to lead. Like, it's not my job to tell you what to
No.
work on. I have ideas. Trust me, always have ideas.
Mhm.
But if you're not ready to work on it, we don't work on it.
Mm-mm.
It's your session. We'll work on what you want to work on. And
Right.
and that's how it should be.
Right. Yeah,
We can work on whatever you want, but you've got to want to work on it.
definitely.
And for it to be effective, right? If you
Mhm.
if I we work on what I want you to work on, it doesn't work.
Right.
It
What's
just doesn't
what's the
work the way.
point?
You have
Yeah.
the right to have any thoughts you have, and I'm
Right.
with you on that. So, I mean, this is part of like being a trauma informed person is
Mhm.
we meet clients where they're at, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. I think that's a big part of like my philosophy too. Also someone who's trauma informed. And again, kind of going back to what you're saying about like the feelings that they're uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And therapists sometimes act as like a mirror,
Yeah.
is that it's very similar working with kids, right?
Mhm.
So like let's say a child they are trying to build a tower and it doesn't work right, and they're like, I can't do this. This is too hard. I might say, you're really frustrated because it's not going the way you wanted it to.
Yeah.
Right. So we're giving them a word for that feeling,
Yeah.
which is helpful. And sometimes it's quite literally just being like, you know, if they're playing in the dollhouse and they're playing out a scenario where like dad is walking out the door, I'm going to say, oh, dad's leaving the house, to really reinforce,
Mhm.
the story that's happening here. So it's very similar in the
Yeah,
same way.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of that in session too. I call it scripting, where I'll give you the words
Mm-hmm.
for what, either the words for what you're feeling, right? It sounds like you're feeling really sad.
Right.
You must have been feeling like you were things were out of control for you, like just to validate. But I
Mm-hmm.
also do things like when people have conflict, right? And they don't know how to express their feelings. I have a little script that I'll kind of say, this is how I like to say things,
Mm-hmm.
using an I statement.
Right.
And we kind of go over that and practice it. And I'll give you the language, and then you modify it and make it work for you. But
Definitely.
sometimes people need to hear, kids and
Yeah.
adults, they need to hear the language so
Mm-hmm.
they can go, oh, that's how you say it. Because unfortunately, that's nothing. Sometimes that wasn't modeled at home for
Right.
us,
No.
and it certainly wasn't taught in school how to kind of express our feelings
Yeah.
appropriately,
Yeah.
right?
And I think a lot of time, and I'm not the guru of any of this, so I'm not going to say I do this perfectly all the time. But a lot of times, like when we get mad at someone or we're upset with someone, we say, you made me feel this way.
Right,
You made me angry. No,
right,
their actions caused you to feel angry.
right.
So we can say, I feel upset and angry because of X, Y, and Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know I didn't, have that language before going to therapy and being a therapist.
Right.
So, I can't imagine most people do have that kind of language.
Right. They're busy trying to live their lives
Right.
and work at their jobs and stuff.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's the reason why you see a therapist, right? Because that's our job.
Mhm.
Our job is about helping people deal with relations with each other,
Yeah.
relationships, with their inner feelings, with their responses to external things,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And recognizing how emotions, feelings, and thoughts impact behavior, right? That cognitive triangle, like, and recognizing that we need to kind of get into that triangle a little
Right.
bit so that we can help with behaviors, especially with
Sure.
kids, right?
For
Because,
sure.
and even adults, because that's where, our thoughts and our feelings are so powerful,
Mhm.
and they feel um so strong that we need to act on them
Sure.
sometimes. And that's, not always the most helpful thing
Mm-mm.
we can do.
No. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think like I'm gonna use the word curious again that you used
Hmm.
earlier, is that I think the biggest thing that parents can do for children who are experiencing any kind of behaviors, let's be curious about why that behavior is happening.
Right.
Right? There's a reason behavior happens. We generally don't do something for no reason.
Right.
So there's usually a reason we're doing it. Um, there was something else I was going to say in relation to, if I stop. Oh, I remember what it was. I don't know, Nancy, have you ever had the experience where a client comes in and they tell you, I just want to be happy. I don't want to be sad anymore.
And I have a magic wand for that. That
Do
I
you
like
really?
to.
Could I
Yeah. Let
borrow
me go
it?
get it. Let me
Okay.
go get it. Let me go get the magic wand.
Oh my gosh. She actually does have a magic wand.
I
That's
have a
crazy.
magic wand. Here's my magic wand that I can
Wow.
wave to make you happy.
I think I need one of these. This is
Yeah.
cool.
Amazon. Amazon.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Wave the magic wand, because that's a lot. I want to be happy too.
Me too.
I
Yeah.
want to eat ice cream every day and be
Mhm.
happy.
Yeah,
And we all want that, right? So that's part of that acceptance piece that I find, especially
definitely.
with a lot of adults, accepting that there's things
Mhm.
that we can't change and
Right.
things we have to create.
Mhm.
Happiness is something we have to create in our life.
Right.
It's not a gift from Santa.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Something I like to talk to a lot of my clients about, especially my teen clients, is that happy is a feeling. It's not an end goal on a map
It's not.
that we're trying to get to. Just how you're sad, frustrated, stressed, right? Like those are things that you don't feel all the time. I mean, maybe you do, but they're not constant. There's other things happening
Right.
with it.
Just like
Just
happiness
like
is.
happy is, I'm not happy all the time.
Nope.
I don't really know anybody who is, and if you are, I would be more concerned about you, to be honest, than if you were sad.
It is. I hit a good point, because That's universally true, right? I think
Mhm.
as a society, we're led to believe that we need to be happy all the time.
Right.
Not realistic.
No.
And if we're judging our life by what we see on social media when other people are happy,
Mhm.
we're really hurting
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah, I like to tell my clients that, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side because it's fake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's turf over there.
Yeah,
That's not real grass.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we can't compare ourselves to something that's not real. I mean, we could, but like, it's not going to be helpful.
No, and I always say to my adult clients, it's performative. The
It
stuff you
is.
see
Yeah,
on social media,
definitely.
except for this, because this is real. Um,
True.
everything else is performative, right? I mean, it just, and so that's why it feels so like in something you can't attain, and you feel
Yeah.
bad about yourself because you're judging somebody on something they're portraying on a phone,
Right.
and that just may not be fully real,
Right. No,
right?
I agree. Yeah. I was trying to think of this analogy earlier and I'm still working on it. I don't know if it makes sense, but I was thinking because I was in relation to this
Hmm.
and about how, we can't be happy every single day. And I don't know, Nancy, how often you go to Dunkin' Donuts for coffee?
Not that often, a couple times a
A
week,
couple
maybe.
times. Okay. Well, I always get the same thing. Every time I go to Dunkin', I always get nice coffee with butter pecan and cream. That's it.
Hmm.
Every time I go, it's different.
Yeah,
It's never the
yeah,
same.
yeah,
And, I guess kind of in a way, right? Every day
yeah,
we're different every day.
yeah.
We may have different feelings every day. I'm not happy every day. I'm not sad every day. I'm not anxious every day. Just like the coffee that I get from Dunkin' Donuts, wow, pretty regularly is not the same.
No, and yeah, even when you go to the same Dunkin', you're spot
Exactly.
on there. That's
Right?
100% true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an analogy I'm still
Yeah,
still
no, I
kind of
like
playing
that. I
with.
like that analogy because it's again, same thing with people, right? Your interactions with me, you might have this one experience and then you might see me in a different setting and I'm a different person, right?
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I don't act the same way outside of here that I may act in session with a client,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And
Right?
it's hard to kind of just accept that. And
Mhm.
that is what it is all about. Being
Yeah.
okay with being not okay,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of times people come to therapy thinking that there is some sort of magic answer,
Hmm.
and there's really not.
No.
Honestly, I don't know if you've had the same experience, but honestly, when I first started going to therapy myself, which really wasn't until after grad school, and after, going to grad school, I learned, oh, this isn't, there's not some big secret thing, right? There's really not.
Well, I mean, here's the secret. Here's the secret. The secret is that all of this stuff comes from within
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
We have to do it for ourselves.
Mhm.
Again, I like to say that like Santa's not coming down the chimney with a
No.
bag of contentment and happiness for you.
Right.
You have to figure that out.
Right. And I'm not saying that, like, obviously because we have to figure it out that therapy isn't necessary. It is, because I think the therapist can unlock that door for you,
Yeah, I mean,
you know?
essentially, the therapist is the objective observer.
Right.
And I don't know all the players.
No.
One, I only know what you tell me.
Mhm.
And so I can look at things that you're doing and saying, "Hey," and I do give that feedback to my clients, right? Like,
Mhm.
"Well, that probably wasn't helpful to the
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
or maybe you can try to look at this a little bit differently
Sure.
to help them figure out how to navigate some of this stuff." And that's what therapists, we're like a guide
Yeah.
here to help you figure stuff out, not to figure it out for
Oh,
you,
no.
but to help you with the facts in front of us sort through this stuff,
Mhm.
and to also have the strength to sit with some of that
Yeah.
uncomfortability. Because I always say to my adult clients, the only way we heal your pain is by feeling your pain.
Right.
And that's hard. Oh, that's hard to
Nobody wants
do.
to do that. Like,
Well,
I
no,
don't wanna do it.
all my clients are
Right.
doing it. They do it. They sit with it. We sit with it. We
We
just sit
do.
with it, right?
We can do
You
it, we
know,
just don't want to.
all those words we hear today on the internet, sit with it, take space for it. That's exactly what it is. Just
Right.
make space for the
Mhm.
feelings, because then they will pass and they will move on. But if we try to hang on to them and not let them out, then we don't get rid of them.
What do you think? Because I think the language of, holding space for or sitting with, and that's something that we all use pretty frequently, that kind of language. I don't know if it necessarily makes sense to people not in therapy,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
all it means is allow it to be, right? If
Mhm.
I buy this vase, I make space for it on my mantle,
Mhm.
right? A pretty vase. I just allow it to exist.
That's a great way to put it. I like that.
Yeah. And so if I have a really painful situation in my life, I make space for it. Or you, maybe as my friend, make space for it. You
Mhm.
just allow me to sit with that painful stuff and not try to fix it,
Mhm.
not try to change it,
Right.
not try to say it's okay, I'm going to be able to do it. Just let it be.
Right.
Let it be. Let me feel sad if I feel sad.
Yeah.
Let me be that person,
Definitely. Yeah.
And that's what it means to sit with it or take up space. It just means to let it be,
Mhm.
right?
I like that. That's a great way to put that.
Yeah, I really want to sing. Let
You
it be. I won't.
Maybe we'll have karaoke one day.
Okay, I like that.
Um, but yeah, I think that's something else too, right? Is that I know I've had personally a personal experience, like in my own therapy, where my therapist was like, "What does that feel like when you say that?" And I'm like, "I want to go like this. I don't want to deal with it. I don't
Yeah.
want to talk about
Yeah.
it. Right? I want to push it away." Um, and I think that's probably part of why we ask, where do you feel that in your body? Because it gives us a good idea of where it's existing and what's happening, right?
Right. And I think that's so important, right? That where do you feel it in your body? And because listen, we're all connected, right? The
Mhm.
brain and the body is one.
Yeah,
So if something's going on here, I'm feeling it somewhere in my body. I might not
definitely.
even know I'm feeling it. I
Mhm.
might have a really bad stomach ache, right? Think before the first day of school, all those little kids with stomach
Mhm.
aches. It's because they're anxious,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Or me dreading if I have a court date, like dreading it, right? I
Mhm.
feel it like in my chest. I feel it in my belly. I got to go to court. Oh, I'm so anxious.
Yeah.
It that's real.
Yeah.
Where it's all one system, your body, and that's stuff for future podcasts for
Oh,
sure. I want to
definitely. Yeah,
talk about that.
that's a whole big thing.
That's a whole big podcast right
But
there.
just a little touch to explain exactly like
Yeah,
a very debrief about what it is. Just a
yeah.
little touch.
But I do think Claire and I want to do for future podcasts. We want to we don't want to we want to process on some things like that
Mhm.
happen in real life.
Right.
So we were kind of thinking maybe we would take a maybe somebody would share something very vaguely, no
No
names,
names, please.
no
Please, no
names,
names.
of something that they have something that they need to work through, and we could give you two therapists' viewpoints on it
Right? Yeah.
from a therapeutic standpoint. We can't diagnose you, but we could say,
No.
hey, this is what I think about that,
Right.
Um, and I don't know. So if anybody has anything, send us a little
Has any
message at
ideas?
Northern Lights. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to hear from a Reddit post, but that's okay
That's
too.
true. But those are fun. I like
Those are fun.
those.
Those are fun.
Yeah. Nancy's talking about there's a post. I don't know if I can curse or not, so I'm not going to. But there's a
AI, what is it?
am
MI?
I the ASS?
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I I'm gonna say am I the bad person?
Yes.
So there's this Reddit thread, I'm sure people have seen it before. It's like, am I the bad person? And kind of diving into that. I think they're really interesting.
I do too. They're
So
fun too. They're
yeah, they
fun
are
to
very
read.
fun. Um did you have any other
I don't. I
points?
think maybe, I
No.
don't
Do
know.
you think we're good?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right.
We'll try this again.
Yeah.
We'll come back to the couch with Claire and Nancy.
Yes.